Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneur. Yes, page and stage come together in entrepreneurship. You may have a solo book out. You may have a contributory book out. You may have a blog. But if you're an entrepreneur, you've got socials, haven't you? And what's that if it's not published work? Check that box. What about the stage thing, though? A lot of people say to me, "Oh, I could never do the public speaking thing. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I can't do that." I'm saying to them, "Can you have a one-on-one conversation with somebody?" Yeah. Then you can do a podcast. Is that a stage? Yes, it is. So come and share your wisdom with us on From Page to Stage. Just saying. Okay. Today, I have the joy and pleasure of introducing you to a fiction writer. And we don't often have fiction authors on this show. But I want to share with you my very good friend, Rosie Miles, known as Rosie Miles for a very good reason. Okay, now I know a little bit about her. I'm going to pass the baton over. Rosie, would you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about who you are and how you've got to where you are now?
Hi, Wendy.
Hello.
Thank you for having me.
Yay.
All right. So how did I get to being a published author? Blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of it. I'd say, thinking about it, I have been writing, trying to be published for 20 years.
Okay.
And yeah. So it's, course after course after course, confidence building, then a few more courses, then character building, creating characters, creating villages, creating places, It's like living in a completely different world to the one I live in every other day.
Well, that's the thing, the joy of fiction, isn't it? It's an escape from where we presently live. And we can go and inhabit another world.
Yes, absolutely. It is just a great place to go. I could murder someone and get away with it. I could do something really, really naughty, get away with it. But that's just the sort of place where you can go. You don't have to worry about anything really. You're in your space, you're in your zone, you're happy, life just rolls past. And then all of a sudden there's pots for dinner and you think, oh, really? Really? Pots for dinner? And then, I go downstairs to my writing room for maybe, I say, right, I'll be back in an hour. 5 hours later, what's for dinner? That's when everything's working.
Yeah.
When it's not working, you're sitting there and I can type, I am a writer, I am a writer, I am a writer. Just shows the fact that my brain is telling me that I can write, I can write, I can write. And then all of a sudden it just will change. And I stop worrying about not being able to get words down, just putting words down. Mm-hmm. And one person, I don't know who this person was, says, you cannot edit a blank page.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, can't edit a blank page. So put something down, you can always fix it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful analogy taken from, you can't steer you have to steer a moving ship. You can't actually steer it when it's still in dock. So yeah, I love that. You can't edit a blank page.
I don't know whose words they are, but
I'm going to borrow that one.
I wish I could tell you who it belonged to, but unfortunately, no, I can't.
Maybe it was that very prolific writer, Anon. They've come up with some profound things in their time.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for sharing that, Rosie. So I want to take you back in time. When did you first discover your love of writing? How old were you? What tell us about that.
I would say school. Way back in the day. I would say school. Not so much primary school, but more once I hit my early teens, I think. Okay. And English seemed to change from, to being able to just write down creatively. You didn't have to follow the rules that you do when you're learning spelling and things like that in primary school, and sentence structure. That's the other thing I like about writing. Your sentence structure doesn't have to be the way anybody else tells you sentence structure has to be. So yeah, but I would put that down to, yeah, I'd say high school.
High school, yeah. And it was the creative writing, wasn't it? That's what
Absolutely.
really drew you in. Yes.
Yeah. Love creative writing. It's just, as you said, it's an escape. It gets you out of your real life and into what you think life could be like if only.
Yeah.
Imagine, yeah, it's good.
So what genre do you like to write in?
I beg your pardon, I can't hear you again.
What genre would you say your writing is?
For me, there was only, once I found the genre, I knew what it was going to be, and it's romantic suspense.
Romantic suspense.
Cops, robbers, undercover cops, yeah, undercover cops, ex-military, yeah.
Are we talking men in uniform?
Men, women, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, strong female characters. My love it. Love a strong woman character.
Yeah.
Just amazing. You know, because my own personal belief is women are amazing creatures and we can do anything.
Yes.
So can men, but yeah, being a woman, I believe that.
Yeah.
And
you get
I
the
don't
opportunity
know, the roles
to...
you've played growing up. Yeah, women can do anything.
Yes.
Anything.
And you get the opportunity to create these wonderful characters. Do you base them on people?
Well, put it this way. I can be I used to work in police headquarters in the city in Brisbane.
Did you?
I loved that job. I met some fantastic men. I met some fantastic women. I met admin staff, the commissioner for police, everybody. So I would look at some and think, oh my gosh, those eyes are amazing. Bang, there's my character's eyes. Oh my God, that is so arrogant. Boom, into a book you go. Just snippets from different people, snippets from different things I've seen. And yeah, write them down in my little things I can use at a later time and just go on from there.
So do you keep a notebook with you?
Absolutely. I have a notebook full of, but when I come home, my handwriting's atrocious. It is shocking. I try to print so as I can read it, but if I'm in a rush, it just turns into scribble on a page. So I have to, as soon as I would get home from work, I would have to put everything down in my computer notes, just as while it was reasonably fresh. And then I could throw it down in my computer notes because my handwriting's.
So you can't even read your own handwriting? I
can't. And I have a friend who's does handwriting. She studies handwriting. And she said, look, give it to me. I'll be able to do it for you. And she looked at it. She goes, no hope. Really don't. But so I call that my info dump time. I have no idea what it says, but it's down. Yes. And enough of it seems to stick in the brain for what I feel is necessary to put into my proper notes.
How exciting. Oh, I mean, the place you've just described is, as you say, a wonderful people watching opportunity.
Oh, look, go to a cafe, have coffee.
And I have your phone.
And most people don't mind you writing if you're having a coffee or something. And all I do is watch, and you hear snippets of conversation. You hear different tones and voices and harshness, and you can tell if people are angry or if that gorgeous couple next you're actually having a fight, and then you type faster. Yeah, yeah. My husband says to me, he hates to go to a movie with me because I will tell him what's going to happen next. Because that's in my head, that works perfectly. I can see, I can plan because the plotters and pantsers, they reckon people can just write off the top of the head. I would love to do that. But I like to have a general outline. I know my characters and I know where they're going to go. I just got to figure out how to get them there.
Yes.
So when you're watching a movie, and you just see it. I said, this is going to happen. So he reckons I spoil the movies now, so I have to learn to be quiet. But I can't, sometimes I can't help myself go, this is going to happen. He goes, whatever. And then he turns to me and goes, how?
Yeah.
It's my gift to annoy people while watching the movies.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the really popular epic things all follow the hero's journey.
Mm.
And if you know the structure of the hero's journey, you
Yes.
can pretty much say, as you said, what's
Mm.
coming next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, some people will go, well, that's a bit boring then. Yes, and the variations of the detours that you can take within said structure.
Well,
And
that's what they say. There's only so many original plots. It's how you put your twist in it that makes it your book.
yes, exactly. And the different characters that you bring to life.
Yes.
That's where the variation hits. Yeah.
In my first book I wrote, I had someone come up to me, someone I know, she goes, oh my God, I've been there. It's the most fascinating place. I said, really? Yeah, I said, I made it up. It's not a real place. She goes, because you sort of, well, I do anyway, put a fictitious place in the middle of well-known names that my place doesn't exist, but because people know, like Mulaney, if you live in southeast Queensland, you know Mulaney. I think, oh, I've been there, and it's fabulous. I think it's great fun. And I always try to keep my my books in southeast Queensland, around areas that I know, around things that I've been out and researched, with my trusty bad handwriting.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because if you have a location or if you have a specific historical moment in time, you need to have done your research.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
somebody will go, that's not right.
Oh, that's why I do not do historicals, because those writers are so involved in the research. And I have a friend now who's overseas in London or the UK, going through, I can't think what part of it, looking at all the old castles and sending photos, because this is where her next book's going to be done. Yes. And you can feel it from just looking at the photos she sent, like that's the passion in just showing a photo. Yeah. Because, you know, it means that much to her. It is amazing. It's good. So I like to say I've been there. I have done that. Although I've never really driven a car around a mountain at 100 kilometers an hour. No. But
probably not a sensible move.
No. But
yes.
It makes
for imagination. Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. So that's been your writing journey, and I'm feeling so much passion behind what you're telling us. And audience, isn't it lovely when you get to speak to the creator and you get an insight into what's gone into a book? So again, audience, this is you. You've got information out there that you've put your heart and soul into. It's time that you shared that with the rest of the world. Get visible. Talk about your wonderful work. Okay, Rosie, so that was your writing journey. I want to take you into your speaking stuff. How much have you done around speaking about, well, either your books or generally? Tell us about your speaking.
My writing is easy. My self-confidence to put myself out there and tell people about my writing has been another story completely. But I'm getting better. Here I am talking to you. I wouldn't have done that 2 years ago. But having a chat to people has never been an issue for me. I love having a chat. I love talking. I get up on a stage. I've had to make speeches when I was a much younger woman. I belonged to a group in my local area. I was my mentor was a much older mother, and we needed to promote our women's group, and we needed someone to get up on stage and have a chat and tell people what we did and why they should come join and how wonderful we were. And she said, "Oh, I put your name down for that." I went, "Thanks." Okay, all righty. So when I got there, there was a lot of people in that room. And there was a little stage in the lectern at the front, and I thought, she didn't tell me there was going to be this many people. But I listened to other people chatting. I thought, doing all right. And then they called my name and up I got. And loved it. I thought, this is really good. And everybody seemed to listen. And they'd laugh in the right spot. So you think, ooh, all right. And it's a bit of a rush. It's a bit of a rush.
It is, isn't it?
I've done lots of things like that. Like one of my girlfriends had her book launch.
Mm-hmm.
She asked me if I would give us, introduce her and tell her how we've met and things. And I thought, yeah, I can do that. So again, notes, which are terrible. And the crit group I was with at the time said, so what are you going to talk about? I said, oh, I don't know. I'll just talk about Sharon. They said, at least write some notes down. And I went, okay. As an aside, one thing I have learned is never compare yourself to anybody else.
Oh, no.
Never compare yourself to anyone else. Because her other friend who was chatting about her was some super brilliant, she was amazing. Not me. And I thought, oh, no, that's her.
Yeah.
You talk, you tell them your shatter.
Yes.
So I did.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was lovely, and everybody was so happy. We didn't know that about her, and we didn't know that about her. And come up and spoke to me after and said, oh, you did a fabulous job. And cool. When my first book won an award, I was approached by the local radio station.
Oh.
So I thought somebody was pulling my leg, Wendy. I was at work and I said, yeah, right, whatever. And I hung up.
Oh, no.
3 times this guy called me and he said, Rosie, blah, blah. I said, oh, so who are you? And he told me again. Okay, I said, who gave you my name? And our accountant's wife put me straight in it. And I went, okay. So I went to meet this lovely man, all my notes, because people put, especially, no, that's generalizing. A lot of people just think romance is rubbish. That's their choice. So I had all my notes. I had how many hundreds of thousands of books are sold. Never even discussed it. Just wanted to talk about me. Had the best half hour ever. And he invited me back.
Oh.
So I had some books printed because my first book was an ebook. I
Okay.
had some books printed and he said, bring a few along and we can open it up and anybody, So if I think I'm going to do anything else in my life, Wendy, I think it's going to be working on radio. I loved it.
Yeah. Yes.
It was just such a thrill. Anyway, so I'm chatting away and he's chatting and I'm chat, and everyone's coming in and having a great laugh. It was just wonderful. And he goes, right, anybody who wants a copy of her book, give us a buzz. And I thought, I looked at him and he realized, what if nobody calls? And that's me. Oh my God. And he said, the girl from out the front said, Switchboard's lit up like crazy, babe. I went, okay. So yeah, so that was great. So with my new book coming out, I'm actually have a press release and I'm going to present myself to the radio station again and see if they'd be willing to give me another interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. You see, audience, this is the importance of getting yourself out there. The switchboard lit up, huh?
Yeah.
Why? Because Rosie got out and talked about what she was doing.
Yeah.
That's why it's important. Got to tell people.
You can stand in the background and say nothing. And I have done that for a long, long time. It's taken me basically the last few years to really say, oh, what are you doing? I'm an author. I write books. Oh, really? There you go. Some people go, oh, yeah, that's nice. I go, okay. But, what do? I write books. Damn good books. But that's just my humble opinion.
I confess I have not yet read any of them because because I'm out and about on the road.
Yes.
There's something about the visceral quality of turning a page, isn't there? That you feel the weight of the paper, and every book, I know, audience, this is going to sound strange, but every book has its signature smell to me as well. They're all like an old friend that when you pick them up, you go, oh yeah, I know who you are. it's probably a bit of a synesthesia in there, but for me, it's really precious to hold a book.
Mm.
And when you are traveling around the world and you literally have 20 kilos,
Yes.
books weigh heavy.
That's exactly right. And that's where Audible is a treat, an absolute
Yes.
treat.
And
Because,
also
or
Kindle.
even a Kindle. I mean, I know you don't get to touch the page and you can't. I dog ear. My friends hate the fact that I dog ear pages, but I dog ear. And if I find something I really like, I'll highlight it.
Yes.
If I've got a pen something close to me, because you never know that the way this author's framed something, you think, oh, that was so good.
Yes.
I could practice that.
Yeah.
Some people have just a way of saying a sentence. You think, oh, it's amazing.
Yes. Definitely can take
Everybody and everyone's
different.
And you're always learning. And that's what's also so scary, is because you read something, you think, I could do that, I could twist that. And then you think, oh my God, is that plagiarizing? Am I taking that person's work? No. They've taught me a lesson on how I could learn to do something better for myself.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you just don't take chunks of other people's work and put it in your book.
Exactly.
But it's really scary. And the other thing that's scary is AI.
Yes.
Because I've signed a contract with my my publisher that there is no AI in my book.
Mm-hmm.
And
Your own works.
so many of us are having to do that these days.
Yes.
So it's our work is our work, not a computer.
Yes.
Enhanced something trying to be Rosie Miles.
Well, the thing is, I mean, we're all using AI to some extent during the day, but it's how much. I mean, I was listening to a talk yesterday on AI, and it's really not artificial intelligence, it's artificial interpretation. Because it gathers data from all over.
Yeah.
And it gets things wrong. I mean, this guy was pointing out that, talking about an English garden, he's an English fella. And this ChatGPT or whatever it was, other AIs are available. Let's not take them in vain. They came up with the fact that it had realised that there were flowers in his garden, and it also picked on the fact that there was an English person who had been to Africa, and was talking about sort of safari animals and giraffes and things. And there was another writer who had talked about the fairies at the bottom of the garden type thing. So this AI had decided that if you go into an English garden, you'll find fairies sitting on zebras holding flowers.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's ludicrous.
And they illegally take your work. They take your books. They don't ask for your permission. They take your book.
Yeah.
The little AI, however they work, it takes your book, pokes around to find out your style. Yeah. So as if anybody wants to write in the style of Rosie Miles, all they have to do is ask AI. Anyway.
It doesn't have your soul. No matter how much you ask it to do it, it's not got your soul in it. And that's the difference.
Yes.
That is the difference, because as you say, I mean, they're emotion words. Yeah, no, they don't have that same excitement and that same frame of reference that a human does, because, hello, we experienced it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Anyway, not my favorite subject, but there we go.
Yeah, one that we need to talk about, but yes. Okay, so we talked about, so you mentioned you've got a book coming out.
My new book is coming out on the 17th of June this year, which is not too far away now.
2025.
And my publisher's in America, so everything's basically coming from America.
Right.
I think Barnes and Noble, go online and order it from them. But I'm actually purchased some myself, and I'm going to throw myself a little book launch. So is anyone who'd like to come to purchase a book and have a canapé and a little glass of something and purchase a book, I will sign up for them. But yeah, I'm really excited.
We will make sure that the information is in the show notes, so you can go and contact Rosie and go, I'd like to come. Obviously, if you're in Southeast Queensland.
Yes. if you're in
If,
Southeast
like a
Queensland.
publisher, you are on the other side of the
Oh,
Pacific.
wow. Mm.
That's a little
Just
tricky.
a few of my friends, like on Facebook and things, have just said, "Oh, already got it, already got it, already got it," because they've pre-purchased, they've had half price sales and things to promote it, to get it
Yes.
out there.
Yeah.
So, and they're banging, can't wait to get their copy in their hands. So yeah, it's good.
Have you got them to give you reviews as well?
I have, can you see that?
I can. Oh, love it. Love
That
it.
is a review copy.
Uh-huh.
So I'm
You've got
I've
plenty of
got,
reviews to put in there.
I have got one going back to America to the lady who edited my first book. My life at the moment is topsy-turvy, so that's going to her. I'm going to give one to the lady who runs my woman's circle, because I give a lot of the credit for me being able to sit here and have a chat with you and tell people from joining that women's group. Again, women are magic. So yeah, so she's getting one. And I gave one to my girlfriend who's just come back from a cruise. So I've got a review from her as well. So
excellent. Because an audience, if you haven't already sussed, reviews are really important. And if you as a writer have your books out on Amazon, you can get people to give you a review on Amazon, then Amazon goes, oh, this is a useful book. This is something that people like. And it bumps you up the ratings. You know, those when you look at a book and it says people who've chosen this book also like, that's where the reviews really come in importantly, because that it bumps up your credibility on that front.
Yes, it's really quite exciting. I yeah. So now what else? My other speaking.
Yes.
When my first book won an award in Australia through Romance Rise of Australia, I'm standing and my husband's with me. Again, not the most confident person in the world, but working on being a more confident person. When I found out that it had been made it to the final, I hadn't even told anybody that I'd entered the competition, because I thought, yeah, just keep to yourself. I did it for me because I'd written it, I birthed it, and I was going to believe in it. So I sent it. And then when they phoned and said, blah, 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 I went, yeah, okay. So then I'd come upstairs and tell my husband. And then I told my friends, and it was nuts. It was the most exciting thing. So Cliff said, oh, well, are you going? I said, it's in Adelaide. I'm not going to go down to Adelaide. He said, we are. I said, bring me. He said, it's my birthday. We're going to Adelaide for the weekend. So we flew to Adelaide. We had a couple of days there. Met my beautiful friend down there. It was the awards dinner, and it was black tie this year. They've never done it. It was like a Hollywood thing. So beautiful red,
of course,
ball gown, black cape, felt like $1 million. Anyway, so they put you up on the screen with the others, really well published authors. And I thought, you don't have hope that it's there. You got that far, you never know. When they said my name, I sat there and my husband said, get up. He said, get up. And my girlfriend said, get up. I said, they probably made a mistake. And he said, get up. So I got up, and I was right at the back of the room, miles away from everybody else. So I had to walked up on the stage, and these ladies said to me, when you said you weren't coming, we were trying to think how we could get you here. So, but my husband got me there, bless him. And off the cuff again, chat, thanking. And I thought, since I've been up here for a while, I was expecting the hook like they do in the cartoons, where they hook it around your head and drag you off. And as I was leaving, I went, oh my God, I forgot somebody. So I went, hang on a tick. And off I go back on the stage, go, I'm so sorry. It's not that you're not important to me. It's just the fact that I'm a bit overwhelmed. So I thank the other lot of people that I had to thank. So great. No qualms at all, talking in front of 400 people there was that night, or 350 or something. It's massive, massive. But when I went downstairs and people tried to speak to me one-on-one, I couldn't get a word to come out of my mouth. So there you go. But
It's strange. Isn't it
I
strange
know.
how our mind plays tricks on us and says,
Mm,
well, you can do something in one situation, but you can't do it in another.
yeah. So crazy.
Exciting.
And I
Okay.
still look at the book and I still look at my award and I think, oh, I can't believe it. Still to this day, cannot believe it.
And that was
But
your first one.
yeah, who wins a major Romance Writers of Award? Romance Writers of Australia's award with their first book?
You.
I did. There's a few of us apparently, but yeah. Crazy.
Oh, fantastic. Did you find a real pressure to perform on the second one? Because I know that people who've made a tremendous impact on the first one, the second one is always a
it's what they call it, imposter syndrome, I
Yeah.
believe is the term they use. And I had basically the second book in my mind, typing it down, working through a quick group with it, and I just put it away. Put it away for years.
Really? Okay.
So, but in the end, I think, I've written book, got an award. Probably don't have another book in me before I've got 5 sitting in my computer ready to be worked on. Brilliant stories ready to go. With anything. And then all these people start saying, but you said, yeah, but you said, and example of how strong characters are. In the book I'm writing now, my male, his name is Eden. Someone said to me, Eden's a girl's name. You can't possibly use Eden for a male. So in told, if somebody tells you something, let it go. If 2 people tell it, like one person says it's a horse, yeah. 2 people say it's a horse, yeah. 3 people tell it's a horse, you buy a saddle, right? But I thought, so I changed his name. I have not written a word on that manuscript since I changed that man's name. And he come to me in a dream and he said, my name is Eden.
There you go.
That's my story. I went, okay.
Eden
So does that mean I'm loopy?
No.
But these people, when they are alive to you, and you're like, they live with you and they chat to you, and yeah.
Well, that's how you get the characterization fully, isn't it? Because I mean, in a way, you're method acting with your characters in your books.
Oh, yeah, it is so cool.
Which is lovely, and that's the point. I mean, even when entrepreneurs market, the idea is that they get into the skin, into the thought patterns, the physiology of the people that they're writing, aiming their products to.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're getting inside the skin of the character.
Yeah.
And that's how you can bring out these powerful characters to life.
And he's been in my head for years, this guy. And I thought, oh, it's only a name. No. It's not just a name. It's the man who owns the name, and he owns Eden. So, yeah.
Audience, does that want to make you go buy the book? Find out about Eden, because he's a strong character. So that book comes out, remind us, the June the
17th.
That's June 17th, 2025.
This is Mitch. Eden's the book I'm writing now. Sorry.
Oh, I see. Right. No, I beg your pardon. Okay.
He's still
Eden
brewing.
is in the next book.
He's in my next book. This is Mitch.
In this one. Right.
He's beautiful.
Thank you.
Never argued about his name.
Love it. So we've talked about your writing, we've talked about your speaking, we've talked about the book that's coming out, and you've given us a hint of the one that's to come. Do you have a projected date for publication for Eden? Because I mean, you've given us a picture that we need.
No, I haven't even sent him off yet.
Right.
Usually from when someone accepts, it takes about 15 months, 16 months to come out.
Really? This is because you're going down
a lot of people I know
publication route.
Yeah, that's it, through I come like a publishing house, and I work with a small publishing house, so that's really quite quick. The bigger ones apparently take a bit longer.
Mhm.
Some people say to me, why don't you do it yourself? Draft a digital or something like that. And there's a lot of people around who could help do that. But again, something I'm working on is building up the skill set to be able to self-publish. You know, you'd have to find an editor that you trust, an editor that you can work with. I already have someone that does brilliant cover designs, so that wouldn't be an issue. But it's, you know, this is a thought process all the time. You know, do I go back because would they take another book? Just because they've taken this one doesn't mean they'll take my next one.
True.
It's all book by book, day by day.
Still plenty of those wonderful characters floating around your demanding attention and demanding to be written about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So
I'm going to ask you, Rosie, when you read at your book launches, you read from stage, don't you?
Wendy, I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
When you have your book launches,
Yes.
do you read your work from stage?
No.
You don't? Oh, that surprises me. Okay. Because I'm
I've never, no.
Okay. Because it would be lovely to hear you speaking your own story out and bringing those characters to life. The reason I'm asking this is because one of the questions I ask the guests on this show is, how do you embody your words when you take them from page to stage? Now, maybe that's relevant for you. What do you think?
Well, I had a lot of people, including yourself, actually suggest that, and most book launches I've been to, the author does read a bit. How would you pick out your favorite bit?
Oh, well, that's an art, because you want to pick out bits that are going to be, you know, how soaps just leave you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's the cliffhanger.
Exactly.
That makes you want to turn the pages even faster.
Exactly. Yes. So that's where you go for a snippet that's giving you enough of the characterization and enough of the what the heck's coming next, and you leave it there.
Yeah.
And you might try a different section where again you build on that same character, but they're a little bit further down the track, and you go, well, how did you get there? Have I piqued your interest?
Yeah.
Come and join me outside, and you can get your book signed. There is an art to choosing which section you want to go for, though. There really is.
Well, if I choose to follow that path, I'll get someone to video and I'll send it to you.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
Please do. That's the point. I mean, getting yourself videoed in these different situations. I mean, all of the authors that I've spoken to so far, to be fair, most of them have been self-published, going through the Amazon route. But when you get your first consignment of books, do video yourself, because it doesn't matter how many books you have out, that open the box or opening the envelope that you've got your one copy in.
Yeah.
This is your baby. You brought this thing to birth. Fellas, this also applies to you. You don't have to be a woman to experience this. But you bring your baby to birth, get it on camera, because it shows you as the author being really excited about your work. Because it's not just a job for you. It's not a job. It's not a job. You've poured your heart and soul into. And you want the world to see how passionate you are about it.
Can I share something with you? If that's okay. My first book was an ebook. And my husband said to me, "Where's your book?" I said, "It's an ebook, it's online." Anyway, for our anniversary, this parcel arrives and I open it up. And it's my book. And I looked at him and he said, "Happy anniversary." I said, "Did you buy me?" He said, "Yeah." Every author should have a copy to hold of their own damn book. And man's a keeper.
Oh, isn't he?
Mhm.
He's not a
And
cliffhanger,
I
he's a
actually went on, I think it
cliffkeeper.
was, yep. So, and I keep it downstairs in my writing room. It sits on my shelf behind me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was just, honestly, one of the most precious gifts anybody could ever have given me.
Yes.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
Rosie, I feel you, darling.
I know.
So
It
precious.
was so good. Yeah.
On so
Quite
many
enjoy.
levels. So many levels. So many levels. As we're winding up, Rosie, are there any final words of wisdom you can share with the audience about the writing process and getting it published and all of that juicy stuff? Any final words of wisdom for us?
Okay. This is just going to sound but
Don't preface it, just tell us.
Never, ever give up on your dreams, ever. You know what? Just, anyone, if you want to do something, just do it. And then stick to your guns. Don't let people say, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. Doesn't make sense. As one of my teachers in grade 8 told me, that doesn't make sense. It's not your story, it's mine. But
Yes.
yeah, just I've done lots and lots of courses with well-established authors, so I would recommend that. Study how other people write.
Yes.
Get
Read
a
other
career.
people's stuff.
Yeah, read heaps and heaps of stuff. If you don't like to read that much, get Audible. Heaps of books on Audible. If you're blessed enough to find a crit group of people who are on the same journey as you, get them, join a crit group, work with them, listen to them, but always remember it's your book, it's your story, and you tell it your way.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I really love the idea of that crib group.
They're amazing people.
I'm doing a bit of a plug here. I run a group called Promise to Page.
Yeah.
For the entrepreneurs who've been going, I've got a book in me. I'm going to write a book. Yeah, when are you going to write that book? So it's capped at 4 people. So we start off with the call going, what's your book about? Who is it aimed at? So then when we have the weekly or fortnightly calls, you've done a bit of work for that book. You've got some momentum going, and the group, you speak out loud, you read out what you've written.
Yeah.
And the group, because we know who it's aimed at and we know the premise behind it, can then, as you say, can mastermind. Have you thought about this? Have you? Because I mean, the first group I did, I was one of the contributors. And I had 2 Americans and a Canadian working alongside me. And they pointed out that my book was very definitely British based, and some of the vocabulary wasn't necessarily what the North American public would understand, and suggested putting a glossary in it. So I have.
Yes. That's the difficult thing about writing with an American publisher. Well, most people do use English American spelling, but having to change a ute. An Aussie ute. And they go, that's not a ute, it's a pickup. I said, but it's an Australian book. But this is an American company. So that's the hard thing, is having to know what to keep, what's vital.
Yes.
To be changed.
Yeah.
I argued over a cup holder, and I argued over a bench seat. So there you go. Some things are just really important, Wendy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are contextually based in Australia.
Absolutely.
And one of the sets of books that I absolutely adored was Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series.
Yes.
Partly because I lived in that area.
Oh, it's
beautiful. Historical references. I mean, the first book was that fat, and they got gradually fatter and fatter. I had to give up on them. They're somewhere in storage because I can't afford to
cut them. That's what Kindle's for.
But
not the same.
Sorry?
I said that's what your Kindle's for.
Exactly. Exactly. So the point with that being that, well, what was the point of that?
Diana Gabaldon.
Yes.
Books.
It's in context. So the language, I mean, she'll put in parentheses afterwards, this is what in translation, if you will.
Mm.
And that's where I was doing with the glossary for mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm writing from my perspective, and there are, excuse me, there are Britishisms, there are Scottishisms, so they're English, they're Scots, and there's an Australian in there. So there's some interesting stars. Please see glossary.
Yep. I actually sat on that bench where she wrote those books, just as an aside. We went to the beautiful hotel, and I was telling them I was a writer and blah, blah, blah. They took me out and we walked through the private garden. She goes, and there's a little thing. She goes, and that's where she sits to write her books. So I sat at my bottom and I had my photo taken. Doesn't take much to make us happy.
And no, the flip side of that is we appreciate the little things in life.
Yes.
Because when you can be grateful for the little things in life, everything else falls into place.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Oh, on that profound note, Rosie, thank you so much for sharing your From Page to Stage with us.
Thank you for having me. And that I am a fiction writer, which is a little bit different to what you normally do. It makes me even more appreciative of your time. So thank you.
Loved our conversation.
Yeah, it's been good fun. Take care. Bye-bye, my friend. Take care. Travel safe with your 20 kilos.